He's averaging 118 at Pilgrim Lanes in Haverhill, Massachusetts.
And Jeff Buggea rolled a 667 to earn his #2 seed for this roll-off series. Let's get right to it. It's Jeff Surette and Jeff Buggea as we roll on from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. It's Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV, and we'll be back right after this. We began the ladder series with 5 hopefuls. Jeff Surette defeated Dave Hodge and Bob Betancourt, setting up this afternoon's match against Jeff Buggea, with the winner taking on Mike Morgan next week for the championship. It'll be Jeff Surette, first to bowl here this afternoon at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. And another fine crowd on hand to watch this match as Surette starts off with a shot right in the 1-3 pocket. 18-year-old Jeff Surette, 19-year-old Jeff Buggea. Surette starts with a spare.
Two bowlers are about 11 months apart in age, with Jeff Buggea being the senior member, born April 5th, and about 11 months later, Jeff Surette, February 27th.
They both know each other very well, having bowled in the junior competition and gone to Canada together, and Jeff Buggea was one of the coaches of the team that Jeff Surette bowled on and went to Canada last year.
But next week it's a seasoned veteran of the bowling wars, as we like to say, Tom's brother, Mike Morgan. So our first look at Jeff Buggea in a little while.
Jeff's a sophomore at UMass Lowell. Hasn't declared his major yet, leans toward electrical engineering. He's right through the head pin on his first shot. Works the front desk at Pilgrim Lanes. You'll hear Gary Angelotti's voice in the background here this afternoon, as you do for just about every taping. He throws it right through the middle. He works at Patriot Hardwood Flooring in Woburn, and his Pro Tour sponsor is Ray Smith from Patriot Hardwood Flooring. And Jeff told me that Ray's a loyal watcher of the bowling show every week, and he really appreciates his efforts. Jeff appreciates Ray Smith's efforts in supporting him as a professional bowler.
It really helps the bowlers out, Dick, when they can find a sponsor. Not all of them are that fortunate, but Jeff is a fine young man, and I'm sure Ray was very happy to put up a few dollars to defray the expenses for Jeff Buggea.
Buggea on the head pin that time after an opening 6 box.
It's the 3, the 5, and the 9. The double wood makes it a rather tough spare.
Missed the head pin. Has a little bit of a fade on his ball as he rolls it off the side of his wrist, the side of his hand.
It's a backup ball. Going from left to right.
He'll take a 10 ball. An early 7-pin lead for Jeff Surette.
His last 2 outings have been 379 over Dave Hodge, and beat Bob Betancourt last week with a 366.
We like to hear from you. We like to read the cards and letters that are sent to us from wherever you may be watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes throughout our vast coverage area. Oh, that's a great shot by Jeff Surette for the mark. Watch it again. Doesn't look like he's going to get it, does it? But here comes that wood flying across the deck to take out the 4-pin. Filling the spare. He'll have a tough shot to make here with the 6, 7, 10.
And no wood to help.
But we got a letter here from Ruth Dudley. Michael, from Manchester, New Hampshire.
Yeah, what's Ruth got to say, Jeff?
Ruth writes, "Sir, I've watched bowling for a long time. I look forward to it every Saturday and Sunday. But I get tired of watching men only. What happened to all the women bowlers? Why can't you put women one day and men the other day? It looks like you don't think much of women bowlers. I used to bowl, but now I can't, and I get sick of watching men all the time. Sincerely, Ruth Dudley." Well,
we do have women scheduled in a couple of months, Dick.
On our mixed doubles competition.
That's right.
Here's Jeff Buggea.
And I hasten to add, after we take a look at this replay of the Buggea strike, 7 and 10 last to go down, that in this particular series, this particular ladder, I'm going to tell you who the next 5 bowlers were who didn't make it, but almost did, and that includes a woman. So we nearly did have a woman make it to this particular ladder series, and let me tell you who we had. We had Hugh Ferguson in 6th place. Gary Carrington was 7th. Deb Regan in 8th place.
I saw it, yeah.
Dave Richards, Cookie, came in at 9, and Jack Daly, 10. Women are certainly welcome to come in the roll-offs anytime they'd like.
Buggea with the conversion. So he puts a spare inside the strike. And Jeff Buggea will bounce back and take an early lead in this match. Jeff Surette with a pretty good first ball. Leaves the 5 and the 9. Wood leaning on the 9-pin will help it out. But he has to hit the 5-pin in order to make it go.
He really wanted to avoid hitting the wood over there on the side, and he just overcompensated a bit. Missed the entire configuration.
He picks the 5-pin cleanly for a 9-box. 57.5 with Jeff Surette.
Came in 4th, the WCBC September tournament at Academy Lanes a couple of months ago. We don't have the October finals for you, unfortunately, nor November, just the way that the taping schedule falls in the schedule of the WCBC, and there are no tournament competitions during December. So not until January can you go out and see your local favorite pros on the WCBC.
We mentioned that Jeff Buggea is a sophomore at UMass Lowell. Jeff Surette is also a college student. He's a freshman at Worcester State, majoring in business management. He puts a 10-box on the board, 67 through 6. Now Jeff Buggea works on a double mark, and he's looking for some bonus money, $50 for 3 marks in a row. That's a pretty good first ball, but a tough shot remains. We have $650 in our triple strike jackpot. The bonus ball contest at the end of the match starts all over again with $10 in the kitty. We had a winner last week of $60, and that was Christine Sandberg from Worcester, Massachusetts. Jeff Buggea tries to convert. He'll put an open frame on the board.
5 and the 10 remain with a couple pieces of wood up against the 10-pin.
That'll be a nice 10-box for Buggea. And an early 4-pin lead for Buggea. Box to box. Watch it again as he converts and uses the wood on the deck to help him out. Buggea in the pocket.
That's a tough one. Got the 3 and the 9 over on the right, 7 and 8 on the back row on the left-hand side.
I remember a bowler years ago, Mike, and Jeff Buggea reminds me of him a little bit in style. His name was Dick Chafee. Is that name familiar to you? He was on the old Channel 5 show a lot back in the early years, and he had a fade his ball as well.
Now, I didn't live here at that time, so there's a name that I can't say I've ever seen him bowl. I've heard it. In a 10-pin bowling, it's most unusual to see somebody with a fade or a backup ball. You almost never do see that anymore. Not in the pro ranks, anyway.
Jeff Surette, good first ball, spare opportunity. 6, 9, and 10. Wood leaning on the 6-pin. And the spare for Jeff Surette. Third mark of the first string. Watch it again. The wood certainly came in handy that time. Crossing over to the Brooklyn side. Put 6 in the mark.
Jeff did a great job in Canada last year in the ICBA Youth Tournament competition, winning not only all events, but he was a doubles champion with his partner, Matt Carrington, Gary's son. Gary, as I mentioned, coming in 7th in this ladder. We take the top 5, of course.
9-box for Jeff Surette. 82, check it. 91, 92.
Graduate of Drake High School. Jeff Buggea. Second time on WNDS. He was the #1 seed back last February, losing to #2 seed Sean McKinley.
Comes up with a mark in the 7th frame. Very tight first string. That one got away from him, but he got a pretty good out with 7 in the mark. The 1, the 2, and the 4. No wood. Missed the head pin. Just barely, but missed it nonetheless.
Runner-up today gets $350. The winner plays Mike Morgan next week for a $1,000 top prize and a seating in the Tournament of Champions.
A 5-pin lead for Jeff Buggea over Jeff Surette with 2 boxes remaining in the first string. Off the head pin, but he's got a pretty good opportunity with the wood on the deck. The 1, the 2, and the 10. Piece of wood in the back could factor in. Watch out. It's not going to take it. .102 for Surette.
Getting a nice round of applause from his opponent and good friend Jeff Buggea. Nice to see these fellows cheering for each other. It's friendly, but it's fierce competition. If you can combine the two, they manage to pull it off.
Another split for Jeff Surette. Got the 2, 4, 7 on the left, piece of wood between the 2 and the 4. The 6 and 10 stand by themselves on the right. He is at 109.
And this will be his lowest string in his 3 weeks here on Candlepin Stars and Stripes.
110 for Jeff Surette.
Lowest game prior to that was last week with a 112. Averaging very close to his 124 league average.
Now Buggea. Mark would give him a pretty good advantage after 1, but he threw that one away, and he'll have to settle for a half Worcester.
Took out the 3 and the 9. Everything else still there.
Right on the head pin, full. And that'll be a 7 box. He's at 104 through 9. Just a 2-pin lead, box to box. Surette finished with a 110. Looked like a pretty good shot when it left his hand, but he leaves the 5, 7, and 10. Just a piece of cake.
But he's got a little wood to work with there over on the left-hand side. Like to deflect into the 5, which hopefully will take out the 10, the ball, maybe the 7.
That's how he's playing it, and that's how he tried to get it, but it wouldn't take either one of them.
Probably make that shot 5% of the time with that dead wood up there like
He's
that.
at 112 and 113 for Jeff Buggea, and he'll take a 3-pin lead to the 2nd string of this semifinal match of our second ladder series. Gary Santor is in the Tournament of Champions. Who will join him? Candlepin Stars and Strikes continues from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire on WNDS TV. Jeff Buggea will be first to bowl in the 2nd string, and he takes a 3-pin lead over Jeff Surette into the middle of the 3-string competition. On Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV, Dick Lutz with Mike Morin. Our WNDS TV crew, directed by Stacy McCutcheon. On audio is Don Cronin. The replay machine is manned by Kevin LaFawn. On computer graphics, it's Monica Colby. Larry Taylor's on the videotape. The camera crew of Cheryl Sylvia, Steve Kenny, and Kevin Sheehan. All here for you to make it possible to watch all of the excitement of Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Buggea starts with an 8 box. Another great crowd on hand here at Leda Lanes, as you get to see it in the background. They get here early in the morning on taping days. The coffee and donuts are put out here by Ray Simino and Sean Howard and the staff at Leda Lanes. They really welcome them with open arms, and they treat them royally, and they have a great time, and we invite you to come to one of our upcoming tapings. When will the next one be after this show airs, Michael?
Glad you asked, Dick. If you're watching this for the first time on Sunday, the 11th of November, I'm happy to report that this Tuesday will be our next taping, Tuesday, the 13th of November. If you're watching it as a replay on Saturday, then you missed it. You have to wait until December 11th, and that's when we'll do the taping of the mixed doubles in December.
So we hope to see you Tuesday.
Yeah. Come on by.
We'll start taping around 10 o'clock in the morning. You can get here anytime before then. As I say, the coffee and donuts will be here. And we'd love to see you. Make sure if you've never been and you're coming for the first time that you stop by and say hi. There's the spare by Jeff Surette, hitting it on the outside and cleaning up the 1, the 3, and the 6.
Spoke to an audience member today, Dick. There's a 2-fill for Jeff Surette. Got here at 5:30 this morning.
5:30 this morning.
Yeah.
Well, Ray Simino is probably here. Ray is here early in the morning and late at night. Well, this is not a good box for Jeff Surette.
He's still got a cluster of 5 he can take out, and I think that piece of wood may be frozen to the 6-pin, so there's a chance he might be able to clean them all up with the hit on the object pin.
No, you'll have to take a 7 box. So with a mark, he's at 19 through 2 frames. 5:30 in the morning. That's an early arrival.
You don't need to get here that early, folks. We'll find a place for you to sit.
But it is a great crowd that gets here early and enjoys the day.
I was thinking, this is, of course, early October as we tape this. You're watching this in November. We had a little trace of snow and snow flurries on the 8th of October, which made me think about the one time that we had to postpone the taping earlier this year, back, I think, in March. Or maybe it was February, which is the first time in the 4 years we've been doing the show that that's happened. So we're hoping this is not a harbinger of things to come with an 8th of October trace of snow.
It was just a trace, although up in the mountains they had a pretty good.
They did. 4 inches up, I think, near Franconia and Hodge. Of course, that's old news based on when you're watching the show.
Buggea looks for his first mark of the 2nd string. Tight match to this point. Not much to choose from. Again, Buggea on the head pin, but full, not much to show for it.
Only 1 mark in the string between the 2 bowlers, and that was Jeff Surette. He filled it with only a 2. The bowlers are struggling with only a 3-pin difference getting into the 2nd match.
Almost picked it up. He'll take a 9 box. So he'll be open through the first 4 of the 2nd string. Jeff Surette an opportunity to take the lead with a mark. Well, he missed the head pin. Leaves the 1, the 3, the 7, and the 8. The 8 still stands. Don't know how, but it still stands. $10 for Surette.
Very pleasant, well-spoken young man. He's quiet with the microphone, but you had a chance to speak to him a little bit, and he's a nice guy. He cares very much for his younger brother, his 9-year-old brother Scott, who he may accompany up to Canada in the ICBA Youth Tournament competition next winter. He has an 86 average, by the way, at age 9. So we've got a bit of a delay, a mechanical delay on lane 33.
As they're waiting for the pins to fill, and it's taking a little bit longer than usual with the delay. Just before the frame we would normally go to the break.
Well, Leda Lanes always keeps a mechanic.
It should be somebody ready to go to take care of that. Either that or we could have him move over to lane 34. Nope, he's going to. Here comes the lane sweep now. It's moving, so we'll be ready to go and get this box done and move forward.
A couple of weeks ago, we had some trouble with that particular lane with the 4-pin and occasionally the 7-pin not dropping down in the rack.
Four horsemen right side.
And either the 1 or the 3 moved a bit, so you've got a bigger than usual gap in between the front 2 pins.
The wood will not be a factor.
No, but this is a little bit tougher now because of the distance.
And a spare for Jeff Surette as we go to the break. Surette will have a mark to fill and the lead in the match over Jeff Buggea as we continue with Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire on WNDS-TV. Jeff Buggea ready to bowl on lane 34. Jeff Surette will have the lead in the match when play resumes, when he fills his spare. As Buggea now with a good pocket shot, but the wood moving in front is not in a real good position. He tries to push it out of there. As you can see, he'd like it to be somewhere else, as it's in front of the 3 and the 6. A little bit too far out in front of the 3 and the 6. As he played it off the nose, and that's all he could do with it. Does not make the spare. That'll be a 9 box for Jeff Buggea. Still looking for his first mark of the 2nd string. He has a 45 half.
And we haven't given any bonus money away today.
That means you and I get to split it.
Not even a double strike in this ladder so far. The big money triple strike jackpot is up to $650 for a 3-bagger. $650.
Well, Buggea broke up the splits, and now he's just got the 5-pin out there. The wood is to the right, should not get in his way as he comes at it from left to right and picks up the spare. First mark of the 2nd string for Jeff Buggea.
There it is. It's the 2, 9, and 10. Some wood just to the right and in front of the 2-pin.
Tough shot.
Well, look at
Watch
this.
out. Don't give up on the wood. And an 8 box. Now he's up against a Buggea spare in the 6th frame. Can he break up the split? No. Plenty of wood on the deck. The wood should go scattering, though, the way it's set up there. If it stays the way it is, that wood's going to go flying across the deck. He's got a shot to make this, Michael, the way that wood is out there.
Absolutely. Snap it across.
Oop, it went snapping across, but it didn't take the pin. And a 9 box for Surette. He's at 63 through 6. Buggea is at 55 plus a ball.
Jeff's mother is Joanne Morrell. Dad is Jeff Buggea. He's got a half-brother, Joseph Morrell, 18 months old. And his mother, Joanne, was expecting a new half-brother on November the 5th, which was a week or so ago. So we don't know if she's had the child yet. Congratulations if you have. Congratulations if you haven't. New half-brother in the Buggea family, Buggea and Morrell family.
And since they know it's going to be a boy, may I suggest Richard? Lovely name.
It is a good name. That's one of those names that hasn't really gone out of style.
That's going to be a 7 box for Buggea after a 6 in the mark. Check it, a 5 in the mark.
One, 2, 7, 8, and 10. Missing the head pin once again.
This match is even, box to box.
Missing the head pin again. Looking at the 1, 8, and 10.
And a 9. 76 for Jeff Buggea through 8.
Jeff Surette's father is Tom. His mother is Jean. Tom, of course, a very accomplished Candlepin bowler on our show many, many years ago before Dick and I took over, and certainly the old Boston show. I think he's got an uncle, Peter Surette, as well. That was also a pretty well-known bowler. If I recall my names correctly, I think that's who he was.
Eight box for Surette, 71 through 7.
Only 3 marks, Dick, between these two fine young professionals.
They're both struggling in this middle string. That's a good pocket shot. The 6 and the 9 still standing. Wood way out in front. Watch it again. Watch where this Wood finishes up on the deck. It stays out in front just a little bit too far. It's going to angle and kind of be in a tough position for Surette. Here we go, back to live action, and the shot, and he made it off the wall. The ball bounced off the wall and took the spare. Don't think he had that in mind, Mike, when it left his hand.
I don't either. He looked as surprised as anybody else. Just shakes his head.
He's getting a good laugh on it now, sitting on the...
He's really been loose. He's been smiling a lot and laughing a lot. I think, you know what? I think he's really enjoying his experience. You know, his father, of course, is a veteran of many television shows and probably somehow through osmosis understood what to expect. I'm sure his father talked to him about what to expect. He's just very loose.
Buggea plays the Wood, tried to make the spare, couldn't do it. He'll be open in the 9th. He's going to need a mark in the 10th to break 100. An 8 box. He's at 84.
Probably see both these men next February at the annual fundraiser for the ICBA Youth Tournament Extravaganza in Canada in Haverhill at Pilgrim Lanes. Tony Marie Baldinelli, Bart Medeiros, Mary Wall, just some of the coaches and organizers, and a lot of the professionals from the Morgans down to these guys, the newcomers, former junior bowlers, now professionals. You can expect to see them there. We'll let you know when the date is. It's a big fundraiser. Dick and I will be there hosting again. If they ask us back, Dick, I would imagine they will. We work cheap.
A 9 for Jeff Buggea and a 93 second string. Looking back to when he appeared on the show last back in February, he had a 105, 108, 133, 346 as the #1 seed and losing to Sean McKinley's 392.
Yep.
There's a shot by Jeff Surette for the spare after the half Worcester. Watch it again. The half Worcester and then the spare.
So don't get discouraged when you punch out, because you can come back and make a spare just as Jeff did. Of course, he makes it look easy because he's so good.
He puts 6 in the mark.
And he'll now begin to pull ahead of Jeff Buggea, who led going into this game.
Ooh, he does not pick up the spare. So the lead will not be insurmountable by any stretch.
Oh, no.
It'll be a 9 box, a 108 second string for Jeff Surette. A 12-pin lead in the match for Surette over Jeff Buggea. Heading to string number 3. Don't go away. The third string's coming up next on Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. You are watching WNBS TV. Jeff Surette will be first to bowl in string number 3. And he will take a 12-pin lead in the match over Jeff Buggea into the final string.
Been a tough day at the office for both these young bowlers.
218 for Surette, 206 for Buggea.
Way under their averages.
And Surette cannot open with a mark. $10 for Surette to start out. Mike Morgan waits in the wings to take on the winner. And the winner of that match gets a berth in the Tournament of Champions.
And we'll join Gary Santora, who was our first ladder Tournament of Champions seed back about 3 weeks ago.
Watch this shot. You think he deserves better after a pretty good pocket hit. Instead, it's the 7 and the 8.
Could go to the right side of the wood here, I think. Just like
that.
And
he doesn't make it. Not much more he could do.
It's a game of angles and banks. Bank shots and angles. And a certain amount of luck thrown in, too, we should add. And a pair of 10s for Jeff Surette, pinning very well.
It's kind of like life. Candlepin bowling is a little bit like life, a game of angles.
Boy, is it ever.
And inches and deadwood. Buggea in the pocket, and there's the strike for Jeff Buggea. Watch it again. Watch the 5-pin. Very reluctant. Did not want to go. 1 pin misses it. And finally, it gets nudged.
Little love kiss there.
Looking for 2 in a row. Buggea with the spread eagle.
2, 4. Sorry, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7, 10. It's about a 1 in 100 shot.
Piece of wood on the deck should not be a factor. It's well behind. Takes the 3 on the right.
So a 7 fill in his first frame strike.
And it'll be a 7 box, which is costly. He gains back 4 of Surette's 12-pin lead, which is now 8. That was exciting a couple of weeks ago when we had that double overtime match.
Mike Kusha
and Gary Santora in the championship match, with Santora coming from behind to win.
They tied at 3:45 and then tied in the first 2-frame roll-off, and then finally Santora won in the second 2-frame roll-off.
Again, it was Surette trying to play the wood, missed the wood going by it, not able to convert the spare.
That was the key, catching the wood up front.
He will not get that 7-pin. It's a 9 box for Jeff Surette. Open through the first 3. We have not given away any bonus money in this match. $50 for 3 marks in a row. $675, is that correct?
It
triple strike jackpot?
$650.
$650.
Yep, for a 3-bagger. And it continues to build every week until we have somebody hit it. And it was hit in the Tournament of Champions, a final week by Gary Carrington. His total payday, as I recall, was an even $3,000.
Like yep.
$1,500 for winning it all, and then about 13 and change for the triple strike, and then some other bonus money thrown in. It was a nice
high
payday.
string and bonus money and everything else that went around with it.
Very exciting day.
10 bucks for Surette. He's at 39 and without a mark.
Gary Carrington, of course, losing in our last ladder series to the legend Charlie Jutras. And almost qualified for this ladder, missed it by a couple positions.
Buggea again right on the head pin. 2 full on the head pin.
Carrington missing up by only 10 pins getting into this ladder. There is, of course, various roll-offs ongoing here at Leda Lanes. You get all the information on when you can bowl at LedaLanes.org.
What a spare by Jeff Buggea. Getting the split from the back door. Watch the pin come from behind to sweep out the 7, into the 4, into the 2.
It wasn't pretty, but it doesn't matter.
Trying to break up that split.
Breaking up is hard to do sometimes. It's the 3, 4, and 6. There's no wood. It's strictly a cut shot.
And he's not going to make it. $9 and a 1-pin lead for Jeff Surette as we go to the break. We're heading down the home stretch. 1 pin separating these 2 bowlers with 6 boxes to go as Candlepin Stars and Strikes continues from Leda Lanes in Nashua on WNDS TV. Jeff Surette will be first to bowl coming out of the break. 1 pin separating these two fine young bowlers who have been struggling through this match. And Surette off the head pin that time.
Picking the 4 pin out of the rest of the 10.
That time right on the head pin and almost converting the spare. Surette without a mark thus far in this 3rd string. The 9 box gives him a 48 half.
And in completed frames through 4, a 1 pin lead for Jeff Surette. As we come down to the last half dozen frames for each bowler, it's anybody's game. Oh,
right on the
ouch.
head pin, right through the head pin. Spread eagle plus 1 sleeper. The 8 pin standing behind the 2. Piece of wood in the middle, which could help scramble things up.
Well, he'll go for the 3 on the right
and
side.
Try to spin that wood in there.
Even without the wood, that's the way he would have gone for it. Look at this.
Will it go? The pin in the back is still standing. The 8 pin. Watch that wood slide over and take everything but the 8 pin. So another open frame for Surette, the 10 box. 58 through 6. The door is wide open for Jeff Buggea. Buggea tries to go through the door with a strike. Jeff Buggea in the pocket, the 1-2 pocket. His backdoor ball, catching it nicely, and the strike, his 2nd strike of the string, 3rd mark of the string.
He's had trouble on lane 33 each time.
That time he crossed over, and he had a good first ball with 8 and a spare opportunity here as he tries to double up.
It looked as though it might be a big split, but he got really, really good action off the sidewalls. Has a simple spare, the 2 and the 4.
Missed it. It'll be a 10 box. Jeff Buggea has a 9-pin lead in the match now with 4 boxes remaining. As the momentum has shifted, what little momentum there has been in this match has shifted to Jeff Buggea with 3 marks in the string to none for Jeff Surette. Four horsemen plus 1 with a piece of wood in the back, so essentially it's the 4 horsemen. If he makes the 4 horsemen, he'll make the spare. And he's not going to make the spare.
3-6-10 still there with no wood on the deck. And time is running out for Jeff Surette.
8s aren't going to do it for him. He has a 66 through 7, and he needs to run the table with marks right here.
We're going to see Mike Morgan next week. Brother Tom will be here, I'm sure, to encourage Brother Mikey, who's been on television 70 times between the 2 major bowling shows.
Well, tough first ball for Jeff Surette that time. He looked like he deserved better. Threw it in the pocket. He's got the 4, 5, 7, and 8. Piece of wood on the right side. A couple of pieces of wood. There's a piece of wood to the right and a piece of wood angled to the 5 pin.
At a 90-degree angle, actually.
And it just took the 5 pin. That's all it took. He remains open through 8 in the 3rd. Tough time to go cold for Jeff Surette. But he has gone ice cold.
Not a mark yet this game for Mr. Surette.
Well, Buggea had a 93 in the 2nd string, and now Surette's going to need a mark to break 100. Missed the head pin.
Yeah. It's not over yet.
Got the 4 horsemen on the right, the 1, the 3, the 6, and the 10. You got the 4, 7, and 8 on the left. He picks up a couple off of that. The struggle continues for both of these fine young bowlers.
Still might be a 10-pin game going into the last 2 frames.
6 box. We're happy to have back with us Tri-State Megabucks as a sponsor for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV, and we're also proud to welcome back the Thompson family of dealerships, Nashua Mitsubishi, Nashua Daewoo, McMulkin Chevrolet, and Nashua Hyundai. Happy to have them back on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV as Buggea breaks up the split and now has a makeable shot.
That is a huge break. 10-pin going down.
The 10-pin getting kicked out really makes it a lot more makeable for Jeff Buggea. It's not automatic, that's for sure. But it's a spare for Buggea in the 8th frame. Big spare for Jeff Buggea, which could be the nail in the coffin for Jeff Surette.
Well, anywhere from a 15 to 18-pin lead now for Jeff Buggea, assuming a decent fill.
And Surette needs to mark, and look at that. He threw a 1-3 pocket shot, and look what he has to show for it. You got the 2, the 4, the 5, and the 8 on the left, the 10 on the right, and he's going to take just a couple of them. He'll be open in the 8th, on the 9th rather. $9 for Surette. He's at 84 through 9. Needs a mark for 100. Buggea was at 84 through 9 last string.
Probably a double strike to have any realistic chance of winning. After 2 weeks of pulling very, very well for his first time ever on television.
Well, there's a 9-pin drop, and he needed the strike. Watch it again. He threw a real good shot right in the pocket. Oh, we're not going to get to see it. We'll get to see him make the spare instead. There's the spare.
Almost went by it, Dick. On the left side. Got a piece of wood and shifted the ball back over.
Needs a real high. Needs a 10. Needs a full count to put a little pressure on Buggea.
Not much,
but Buggea is going to have real
2 or 3 pin count. Buggea's got it. That's assuming that Surette strikes here.
He threw a good ball, and he has a 7 and a 3rd string of 101, a 3-string total of 319 for Jeff Surette. Buggea is already at 301 plus a ball to complete the 8th frame. So there's 8 in the spare.
Well, that's set up nicely, isn't it?
Will he get it? No, he will not, but he wins the match. And a 10 box, he's at 113.
Needs 1 pin to win.
1 pin wins the match for Jeff Buggea.
Stay behind the foul line.
We are tied right now. We are no longer tied. Jeff Buggea has won the match over Jeff Surette.
Barely.
I don't think either one's going to save the tape of this match.
Not much left in the tank of either of these bowlers after this one.
So Buggea with the spread eagle, waiting for the pin to settle down. Almost got the spare coming from the back door. And the 10 box and a 123 for Jeff Buggea. A 3-string total of 329. A 10-pin victory over Jeff Surette. And Buggea will advance to meet Mike Morgan for the ladder championship next week on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We'll return to meet our bowlers at Leda Lanes in Nashua. We continue on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV.
Well, we've always known that it's a very difficult thing to rise from the number 5 seed all the way to the top. Jeff Surette gave it a good run.
I haven't double-checked the records for the past 4 years that you and I have done the show. I think it's only happened once, and that was Mike Poulin a couple of seasons ago, went from number 5 to win a ladder series. But again, very, very difficult to do. Very rarely happens.
Let's bring up our runner-up here this afternoon, 18-year-old Jeff Surette from Tewksbury, Massachusetts. Jeff, congratulations to you. A check for $300 and rising from the number 5 seed, winning a couple of matches. What was the experience like for you?
It was fun. You know, Just out here to have fun.
And that sums it up. You had a lot of fun. We'll look forward to seeing you back again real soon. Jeff Surette, thanks very much. Our winner,
Hey, Jeff. See you later.
our runner-up here this afternoon, Jeff Surette. Now our winner, Jeff Buggea, will roll a ball in the bonus ball contest, and we'll try to match him up with a winner at home. Looks like a deuce. That's kind of how the afternoon has been, huh?
Wow.
Reach in there and grab one of those cards out of there.
See how quickly they turn on you, Jeff? They're applauding you 1 minute.
That's kind of how the match went for these guys. That sums it all up, as Jeff Buggea is saying right now. Let's grab a card out of there.
There are 2 in there.
And this is Janet Luddy of Southbridge, Massachusetts. She picked 9, not a match, a consolation prize from N&R Trophies of Winchendon, Massachusetts. And Jeff Buggea is our winner here this afternoon, 329, 319. I don't think either one of you are going to save the tape of this one, huh?
I don't know. It was pretty tough. I just wanted to hang tough with him, you know. Splits everywhere. I felt bad for Bobby last week. I mean, he was hitting the head pin and punching right through, and same today. So, you know, that's just how the way the pins go.
Well, another chance for you in the championship match. You were in the championship match last year of a ladder series. Another opportunity next week against Mike Morgan. Good luck to you. Jeff Buggea, our winner here this afternoon, and we go to the finals next week.
Big favorite around these parts. Mike Morgan will be here to take on up-and-coming Jeff Buggea. Hope you can join us.
For Mike Morgan and our entire WNDS TV crew, I'm Dick Lutz. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Until then, remember, let's go bowling.